Right. Welcome to the pumpkin carving contest. So this was a suggestion made probably about 3 weeks ago by someone in the Discord, and they said, "Hey, for Halloween we should have a pumpkin carving contest." So I invited a couple people. Sadly, due to time zones, they weren't able to participate live. We can't have all 4 videos going at the same time, but that doesn't mean that they can't be here. So what you're going to see is my pumpkin and what I'm doing, and then I'm readjusting a couple of the tabs. Just want to make sure it's not gonna. No, it is gonna mess up the stream. Just go like this. Resize a couple of things. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna be working over here. And yeah, take a minute and get the link out and everything so other people can watch, and then we'll get started with the actual carving. Just gonna go on Discord and then probably Reddit as well. It's where I typically end up posting stuff. I tried making a Reddit a while back, but that's really difficult, surprisingly. I'm gonna say that's a good start. Let's go ahead and get started. So I purchased this pumpkin off of CG Trader. It's got a complicated but very nice lighting setup. And final render, or not final render, but you know, if you render it, it looks like this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into X and just kind of find a spot, a location that looks good. You know, maybe something where the light is shining on it, but not too much, because we want to be able to see the candle. There's going to be a candle inside. Since we're carving it, it's going to be a jack-o'-lantern. So let's just go ahead, maybe something like that. I think perfectly on the Y is a good look. Then we're just going to go in here and go to edit mode. And this is going to be where we're doing a lot of our stuff is in edit mode. Start with just plain. Let's actually go back into textured mode. This plane, rotate 90 degrees, and this is going to be the surface on which I'm going to cut my booleans. Scale it down to roughly the size of our pumpkin. And now we'll be in edit mode for this. We want to be able to see through it. Yeah. There we go. That way we can see our pumpkin behind it. And now we just start moving faces around, right? We're going to scale it to the general shape that we're going to want the face, and grab K to access the knife tool and just start cutting out a shape. Let's make some eyes, maybe something like that. Space. Oh, I did forget to do one thing. Let me undo that. Forget. I'm going to cut this in half. Let's delete this side, and that's going to allow me to mirror it, and then whatever shapes I make on this side are going to be kept over here. So now let's go back into transparent, start cutting we're gonna go make that eye again. Something like this, a little bit jagged shape. And, you know, maybe for the mouth, we'll have a crooked smile. Something like that. Actually, you know, I should have started that from this end. Pretty tall smile. Like that. Now you can see if we turn off, we have this pretty spooky looking pumpkin. Now what we're going to do is delete all this stuff, faces, and now this right here is going to be our cutting face, and essentially what we're going to do is take all the faces and extrude them back. Right, so now we have this, if I go into solid mode, you can see now we have this three-dimensional shape. I'm going to go out of edit mode, grab this, just kind of move it back. Might need to extrude it a little bit more. So that we can get all the way inside the pumpkin. Now we're going to go up to edit, preferences, and just make sure that we have our oh yeah, so our Boolean, bool tool add-on, and that'll allow us to select our pumpkin, select the face, and go control numpad negative. And that, hang on, wrong way. This one first, and that one, control numpad negative. Now, just like that, except for this one weird face in here, and the fact that it didn't actually, oh wait, did it? Maybe it did, I don't know. Looks like it did. Shade flat. And now we have a nice jack-o'-lantern. So let's go ahead, go to modifiers, make sure we're not in edit mode. And that's lame. I don't know why that is. I literally cannot work with any of the modifiers here. Oh, it's because of all this garbage, which made that very, very strange. So let's cut again. Negative, and oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. What is that? All right, let's go back to before we cut. All the way back. Take all this, delete it, and okay, good. So I can apply now. So now we're going to take this, control negative, and cut again. Perfect. Now we can apply. Let's go in here and oh my gosh. Delete, okay, not the whole thing. Delete our face, or at least move it back, because we're not going to need that anymore. Go to our pumpkin, select all these faces, delete them. They don't exist. These two, delete those. And now we're going to do another Boolean, Shift D to duplicate our pumpkin. Just scale it down a little bit. Okay. Negative, which did not work at all in the slightest. Oh, okay, there we go. sometimes the key to getting a good boolean is just to switch it from fast to exact, and it makes a worse boolean per se, but sometimes it'll actually do what you want it to, as opposed to, you know, you saying, all right, you know, erase everything inside of the boolean, and it's like, well, what if I added, you know, what if I just joined the two? And that's what you, we just gotta delete all these faces now. That's the only thing about exact, is that it's trying to basically accomplish the same function without all of these weird miscellaneous faces, which often ends up in the program saying, yeah, this is impossible. So it's a little bit tiresome. You just gotta come in here, especially things like this, you know, just select them all, delete, select them all, delete, over and over again. Just like so. Make sure you don't get anything on the outside. Yeah, so for the most part, we now have our jack-o'-lantern. It's gonna look something like this. We really only need it to look good from this angle, since this is the angle we're going to be rendering it. That's the other nice thing that I love about CGI is, you know, it doesn't have to be to scale, doesn't have to look right from all angles. You know, after this, I might pull up the mountain that I made. I posted it on Instagram. It's funny because it looks beautiful. It looks like a giant landscape, but when you actually see what it is, it's so funny because it's literally just a bunch of like images and stuff all compiled together. But yet, when you render it, it looks stunning. We're almost done here. There's a couple more faces. Zoom in and get on the inside of the pumpkin here. We want to make sure we don't have any of these weird faces here, otherwise they're probably going to cast some weird shadows when we put the light inside. And that is exactly what we don't want. So now let's see what this looks like textured, because yeah, you could see there's going to be a lot of weird textures in there based on where it's trying to unwrap stuff to. So basically what we need to do is we have pumpkin here, right? We just need to create a new texture. Hit new. This is going to be pumpkin inside. And we can see that our stem hollowed out nicely. It got a little bit of a, you know, weird boolean in here. But what we can do is we can just come in here. And actually, no, we can't do that because we couldn't just rotate it. But what we can do is up here to File, Append, bring in the pumpkin. Wait, hang on a second. Should work in theory, but it's not, because why would it? Strange. Sometimes it'll have problems appending a file. In this case, I'm trying to bring in the original pumpkin, so I can just cut out the stems and replace them. But let's see here. If we're in the Y position, it does cause a little bit of problem with the render. Since we're in the render right now, let's just go ahead and add in our light. Beautiful. Look at that. It's a pumpkin. See, you got all these weird like faces here. And that's because it's either an excess face right here beneath the floor, or it could be faces in the back that are sort of, yeah, so see right here, this is our problem. And you can see there's some faces that have been deleted. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select F, select, and select F, and just kind of fill them in. We're still going to have a couple of errors just because we're not filling everything in at the same time. But now if we go to render, you can see we kind of got rid of that. Now I personally don't, scooting around, I personally don't like this, this light very much. I think it's a bit too bright. So I'm going to go to the light 2, something like that, and then maybe huge, right? Let's close out of this collection because we're not going to need that. Close face. That way we can get some organization in here. Let's see here. How would we do this? So I was trying to figure something out. Call that face, call this, it's very, very big. Yeah, there we go. Reduce the radius to just inside the pumpkin. However, now that I'm looking at that, I'm thinking what I'm actually going to do is append. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Probably not, since it's not the Blender tab itself. But I'm going to find an old candle that I made and put the candle inside of there. And hopefully there's not a bunch of pink everywhere. Oh my, that's a very large candle. Hey, the flame stuck. That's cool. And it does the wavy thing. I'm very happy with how that turned out. All right, but we don't need it that big. That's, why is your origin there? That's weird. Origin to geometry. That's not the geometry. Oh, because there's a camera. Origin to geometry. Okay, there we go. Now it scales on its own axis. Scales down by 0.1. 1.5 looks good. The Y, scoot it down till it's inside the pumpkin. Zoom back in on the pumpkin. Just like that. Now we'll take the point light, not show it so that we can see what that's going to look like. It's not bad, but let's go ahead and drag down a shading, the shader editor. And let's see, our candle flame goes into here, our emission. Yeah, let's definitely go more emissions, probably 1,000 watt emission. It's kind of weird measuring a candle in watts, but you know, now you can see, whereas before with the point light, we got just like a very general, you know, kind of look, right? It was the same kind of glow everywhere. Now that we have a candle in there, we get more light where it's not obstructed by the wax, and less light where it is. Let's just go ahead and I'll look in here. You can see like these faces are messing with our candle and how well we can see that. So we'll just erase. It's looking a little bit better. Still got some stragglers from our boolean here. I want to delete that. Get rid of all those. It's tiny. Okay. Right. Should look better. And I'm actually going to take the candle, get out of edit mode, take the candle and rotate it this way so you can see it a little bit better. And then turn down the subsurf, because for this subdivision surface, it's just going to make it really annoying to get a quick render. Let's go back to Y. Make sure it's centered and everything. I'm curious if we bring down the collection, what it looks like without all of these lights. So yeah, now you see we got some fairly decent lighting in here. And because of the angle at which we're rendering, you really can't see all of the mismatched textures and all that. Curious how it would look in Eevee. Because this is Cycles. Cycles is going to be like your more realistic kind of stuff. Whereas Eevee is the quick one, right? If you want it to be quick, you're definitely going to need Eevee. Why is it all black? What the heck? Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, this is the problem with Eevee. The lighting is terrible. It looks nice if you're inside and you can do this bloom effect, but when you go, without any light, it's all dark. And the bloom doesn't shine at all on the walls. So we're going to have to do this in Cycles. Cycles gives you a nice look. I am, however, going to, actually let's do a sample render right now, just to see how it's going to look. Turn our spotlights back on. Zoom out until we get a good look. Move it around. I have it locked to view right now, so wherever I move my cursor, the camera follows. And let's call that good. Let's go ahead and render the image. Just kind of see how it looks. You guys can't see the render, so I'm actually going to that way you guys can see the render. Let me just there we go. So now you should be able to see the render. This is the render process. It's literally just a bunch of tiles, and it just renders out the pixels one by one. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, so you can see that looks decent, I would say. Not exactly amazing, but it's not bad. I'm going to close the render, and does it return? Oh, goodness. That is interesting. Sorry, I'm messing around with OBS right now. That is really weird. I'm trying to figure out how to get the render onto the stream so that you guys can see the rendering process. But that really doesn't want to work. It seems that it works until Nope, not that. Alright, you know what? It's going away. Oh wait, hang on. What? Now you can see it. Hold up, this is weird. Alright. I'm just gonna let that render out for a little bit. Make sure the lighting looks good and everything. I like how the spotlights come down and it kind of creates this shadow around the pumpkin. Alright, so this is going to be what the final render looks like, which it's very noisy, which we should go ahead and close that. I don't know why it duplicates to this, but yeah. Alright, now let's go compositing, and oh my gosh. Ooh. I purchased this model off of CG Trader, so it appears that somebody has already done some compositing to it, and it creates this, which is absolutely terrifying. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Delete all this. All right, we don't want that. That looks cool, but it's not what we're looking for. So let's delete all of it. Connect our image to image viewer, so we can actually see what we're doing. Image to image. All right, so there's our render. Now I'm going to add in a noise node, and look at that. There's no more noise. Now let me figure out. Curious, could we do glare node? And how would that work? Would that do anything? Fog glow? No. So it appears because you can't see. You can see. It appears that because you can't see the actual flame itself, that it's not going to work with any glow. So let's go ahead and just keep it with the denoise. That way there's less compositing that it has to do at the end. I'm sure there's some like really nice compositing setup I could use for this, but I am not experienced enough with compositing to know what I'm doing. Oh, no, wait, that's right. We had our... I forgot we were going to fix these textures. Just go ahead and pick a color. That should be good. And just wherever we see a mismatched texture, grab it like so. Not on the inside. Don't want to mess up the nice textures. Just gonna grab it and that is a terrible color. Go brighter. Till it blends nicely. Let's just make it look a little bit nicer. Keep some consistency and whatnot. Same process of selecting and assign, select, assign, and you can see it already looks a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to need to make a nice background. This floor is a little bit lame, so let's give it a nice tiled floor. Maybe something. This seems incredibly difficult. Literally just making a glossy floor. Sure, there was an excellent reason for doing it that way, but I'm just going to go the old-fashioned way and go textures, flooring, do our wood flooring texture. What can I? That's a bunch of garbage. It's having errors. We're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way instead of using the node wrangler. Color, open, textures, floor, wood flooring. Okay. Wow, that is very zoomed in. Cube projection. Hey, wood flooring. It's a bit big. Let's go over to the, was it UV editor? And scale it probably about 3 times, I would say. How's that look? See, that looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and grab our, just gonna duplicate this, 2 to get rid of it, roughness, non-color, and let's select our roughness. Now we got a little bit of gloss to it, so when we render it, I'm gonna get rid of our face because we're not gonna need it. But when we render it, you can see a little bit more of the candle light here, and then you can see the wood flooring looking all creepy like. That is, right after that. I actually kind of like this wood floor look. So what if that's the camera? Which one of these spotlights is shining directly downward? It's this one. So what if this isn't here? How does it look? Ooh, that looks really nice with the kind of moonlight look. I think we're gonna keep it at that. Perfect. And now let's go ahead, add in a cube. Just make a back wall, something to give it a little bit more depth. Thicken it up a little bit. And this we will give, thinking a brick would look nice. Textures. Let's see what a white brick looks like. Look nice. Are you kidding me? You're gonna do the whole error thing again where you can't find it? I don't know why Node Wrangler isn't working right now. But let's go ahead and grab our image textures. Manually hook them up. That is not correct. Gonna have to reorient those. All right, so let's start cube projection. That's actually not bad. It's a little bit big though. Do like this. Scale it up to 2. Looking better. I'm going to do some manual scaling to make these bricks shorter. Now, let's go ahead and toss in our bump up to height. And in here, we add the normal, and that's going to give it depth. See which one looks best. A normal map, which gives it a bit too much depth. Let's try a height map. Oh yeah, height map, that looks pretty nice. Let's mess around with the distance a little bit. That's starting to look pretty nice. With your creepy floor and your white brick with the moonlight glow behind it. Starting to like how that's gonna look. Let's see here, what else could we do with that? Could add. I'm gonna render it out. See how that looks. What happens if I make the render work? You know, this is not gonna show the renderer. Why that is, I do not know. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just in case, maybe this will work better. Wait for that to render and see how it turns out. The noise is looking a lot better in the render than it is in the actual viewport. Starting to like how this is looking. That moonlight color looks especially nice. I do realize we forgot to take, we turned it off in the viewport, but we forgot to turn off this this base light here in the render, so it's still gonna render. Yeah. Shouldn't be rendering for too much longer. Yeah, this is how long rendering takes. Sometimes I'll literally, like some of these 11-second animations that I've made literally take like 3 hours to render, and I'd say like that's a pretty good time. There was one, it was the trailer with the campfire in front of it. It took 37 hours to render that, and the final animation is literally 11 seconds. You just kind of got to wonder, like, Pixar and stuff with their professional animation studios. Oh, wait, did I? Oh my gosh. Right, I didn't hook up the viewer node to the actual composite. I feel really dumb right now. Let's go composite. There we go. Okay, but this is how it's going to look. And I'd say I can't see exactly everything. I know there's a way to like zoom out of this viewport thing, but I can't figure it out. Let's go ahead and I wish I had a second monitor where I could see the chat, because there were some questions and some comments made that I couldn't answer. But yeah, okay, so there we go. So it updated. So this is what it looks like without Kind of see that. Zoom it in a little bit. So this is what it looks like without any of the noise. I'd say that looks pretty nice. I'm thinking, is there anything else we should do? I mean, it looks like a very rough carving right now, but that would be... Would that be hard to fix? Let's see what happens if I go into layout and just toss a subdivision surface on there. See if it makes it too smooth. Oh wait, that was a mistake. We now have 382,000 faces. So let's not do that. Otherwise, my computer is going to start really bugging out. And we don't want that. Let's see here. I'm trying to think, because we have a wall, we have a floor, we got our pumpkin, obviously. If we had, since it's Halloween, scale this down. Make it plain. Up here. Turn this sphere here into a collision object. Take this, not scale, subdivide it like a bajillion times. Subdivide it again. I'm gonna need a lot of faces. And turn it into cloth. And it's gone. All right. I forgot to turn on self collisions. Where's the collisions? Self collisions. Alright, let's try this. Dang, look at that frame rate. Whopping 5 frames per second. 2 frames per second. 1.5 frames per second. Oh my gosh, it's so slow. I'm almost thinking. Turn off self collisions. And then wait till it's done intersecting with itself. Go something like this. Not bad. Smooth it out. Subdivision surface. Just like that. That's pretty good. Apply. Oh my gosh. The beauty of Blender. Sometimes it does absolutely nothing you want. Alright. Okay, good. It's not going to do that anymore. Let's go ahead and grab our... What was this? Oh, rename this handle. Do a little bit more organization so I don't accidentally delete a bunch of stuff. Back wall. This is going to be Ghost. In order to have Halloween, you gotta have a ghost. Add a little bit of spooky emissions. Oh yeah, very, very ghost-like. It's a bit large though. Scale that down a little bit. Oh yeah, take this sphere, delete it. He's got a ghost friend now. GX. Ooh, very ghost-like. GZ. Something like this. What if we put him in the background? There's just going to be tiny little ghosts everywhere. Lots of tiny ghosts. And they're not all gonna look the same. They're gonna be a little bit going every which way. Something like this. It's gonna be flying over here. Oh yeah, that looks great. Maybe zoom out a little bit and go up. Now we got ghosts. I like those. Those are actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna give them eyes. They're just gonna be floating ghost sheets. Weird things like that. Perfect. Anything else we could add? I can't think of anything else we could add without going into like texture painting and all that stuff, of which I have no idea how to do. So therefore I'm going to avoid it. Let's go light paths. Light paths. Turn this down. I'm going to try and make the render faster. Otherwise, it's going to get very, very annoying. Very, very quickly. Interesting. Performance 256 by 256. I found that to work pretty well. And we'll see how this looks. We might have to turn on the fast GI approximation to get accurate lighting and whatnot, but it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this early. I'm gonna turn off the turn this off. Get better lighting. The other contestant is he's put in the chat he's almost done, so that's exciting. After this, we're going to put up the 3 finished renders, and then you guys are going to vote on them, which I was kind of hoping would involve more people. I might just have to make it an Instagram post and get the results over the course of like the next week. So there's currently only 1 person watching, which is not very good if you're trying to get a good vote. So yeah, so when you're done with that render, just post in the Discord, and then I will add it. Oh yeah, wow, this is much slower with without the fast approximation, but you can see like the mouth and stuff looks so much better. So while we're waiting for this to render, why is it not working? I don't know why it doesn't automatically update to the rendered page. That's pretty lame, but it doesn't. So here we go. It looks like it's working now. couple more boxes and then we'll be done. Wait for the composite and boom, there we go. I'm gonna say that looks pretty good, and this is going to be my final render. Let's call this pumpkin. All right. I love the ghosts. They're so fun. While we're waiting for the last submission, how's everyone's day going? What are you guys doing for Halloween? Color grading in the compositor. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that. And I accidentally just closed out of the streaming software. Let me get back into that. Okay, there we go. We're still good. All right, so let's go back to compositor and let's see. Now I'm not a master at color grading at all. I would love to learn, but I can't seem to find good tutorials. But I do know a little bit of the basics. Make it look more fall-like. What's this one do? I guess that's just kind of like tones. Let's leave that one. Gain. Bit too much. I can't remember the shortcut for making this image smaller. I know there's a way, but I can't remember what exactly that is. Oh wait, I guess this is the not shortcut. All right, so now we can see the full image. What is that? see what we can do with this. Whoa, that's a lot of contrast. No contrast. Let's see here. It's a nice little bit of contrast in there. Oh, okay. Got it. All right, thank you for reminding me how to make the image fit. Because that's always like the super annoying thing is when you're trying to composite it, but you can only see like a quarter of the image or something because everything's all zoomed in a bunch. All right. I like how that looks. I need to learn how to use the compositor more effectively because from what I've seen, the compositor is like the key to making, you know, the best looking renders. You got to know how to work with a compositor. Once you can figure out the compositor, it just gets infinitely easier. How close are you to finishing your pumpkin, Ivan? All right, awesome. I'm excited to see what yours looks like. Because if it's anything like the other art that you make, it's going to be pretty amazing. I love the landscapes and whatnot. I've never been able to figure out how to do good landscapes before like my computer decides it's time to crash. So I did find a nice tutorial on landscaping, but I never got through the whole thing. And it was also yeah, that's what I was finding was like with the mountain, which actually, you know, while we're waiting for you to finish your render, I'm going to go ahead and save this one. Make sure it's saved. All right, and then open the mountain that I made. Was this one? I think it was not this one. Let's go. What is it? This one? Oh boy. Oh my gosh. What have I done? I'm curious, how does this look? You know what? That actually looks kind of nice. But no, this is not the one I was making. Where did I put it? Because I made that. Oh, okay. So this is one that I made that crashed so many times it's not even funny. It looks really nice. But yeah, it crashes so much. It's crashing right now. All right. Like, just look down here. 2.5 million faces. It's a few too many faces. But if it doesn't crash while loading the rendered view, which it looks like it's about to, oh, maybe not. Doesn't say not responding. Maybe. Possible. I want to show you guys what this looks like. It's looking like it's going to take quite a few minutes. How how does your computer still work? Your average mountain has 10 million faces. Gosh. I thought I had a good computer, but if I thought 2.5 million was a lot. Dang. I'm trying to figure out what I need more of in my computer in order to do complex landscapes. That would probably help with the rendering. Gosh, I can't. There's no. There's just nothing here. GPU. Oh boy, it's not responding. Let's okay. I've done it now. uh yeah, I broke it. It's about to crash. There we go. Yep. There it is. This is what I get all the time whenever I try and do landscapes. Just make that go away. Yep. Did it? Okay. Yep. There we go. It just crashed. Let me reopen this. All right, we're back. But yeah, that's what happens every single time I try and make a landscape. I think my GPU, it's GTX 1070, 2070, Ti. I think it's a GTX 2070 Ti. So it's got like 8 gigs of memory. But then the computer itself has 64 gigabytes of memory. So I'm almost sometimes wondering if it'd be like easier to like work with the CPU since it has more memory devoted to the main computer than to graphics alone. Let me see if I can find that. I want to show the ocean, not the ocean, the lake one that I made. It's before the canyon. Oh, this was a fun one to make. This right here. This image is no longer loaded. But yeah, this one had more faces at 3.8 million, and all of my textures are gone. But this is the Provo City Temple, I think, in Provo, Utah. And this was a fun one to make. But you can see, you know, if you look beyond the camera view, it's just a bunch of nothingness. It's only in the camera view that you actually get to see stuff. I know I had the mountain somewhere. But where is the question? I have so much stuff in here. Oh yeah, I tried making a forest. Doesn't look too bad. It's very, very dark though. I need to add more lights to it. Which I might do right now or awaiting. Yeah, in textured view, it's a bunch of different kinds of trees, which I think is like important for getting a good look to it, is don't have the same tree repeating over and over again. Just gonna kind of add in a light, a spotlight, bring it up quite a bit. Do like this. And have it pointing down toward the cabin. Preferably directly on, or maybe not directly, maybe coming a little bit in from the front, like so. Do something kind of like that. And then of course, 10 watts is like 10,000 watts. I don't know, how many watts is the moon? How does that look? Ooh, so that looks pretty nice. And then if we make it like a moon blue, it's a little too green. Something kind of like that. Go ahead and make a, no, not what, movie clip editor. No, 3D viewport. I'm gonna go into the shader, and instead of making the background this sky texture, which I was experimenting with here, we're just gonna go ahead and do the typical space texture, and then it's gonna be like the, you know, the stars and whatnot. 500 or something. Let's bring this in. Wait, does the background show? No, it does not. There we go. a nice night sky. Looks pretty nice. All right, let's go back to our camera. I was thinking the camera should zoom in a little bit. Don't select all the trees. I'm gonna show more of the cabin since that's like the main. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer since the cabin is like the main part of it. Anyway, that was just I need to add the ground next. But I was actually pretty happy with how this one turned out. And it's only got 300,000 faces, which is great because my computer hates faces. Let's see, I was still trying to find the mountain. And I don't know why I can't manage to find it. Maybe I have in a folder or something. But I can't think of which folder it would be in. Well, I have an entire folder of photogrammetry models. This just goes to show how often I go into this. It's got to be somewhere around here. Oh, here we go. So this is probably my favorite landscape so far. And if it decides to render, yeah, I love this one. The water is really shiny because of the bump map, which I need to figure out how to kind of reduce that a little bit. But yeah, all the fog and stuff on the lake. I think it adds a really nice touch to it. Yeah, the funny thing about, any of this is like it looks, you can see like this is literally just a picture of a sky that has its image plugged into the color of the emission. But it's literally just a picture of the sky. All this landscape is real, and then there are, in fact, multitudes of trees all over here, but Oh, and then the fog too. The fog is like, I hate volumetrics. It makes the render so slow. So I just grabbed alpha images of fog and whatnot and just placed them over. You know, in some case I add a little bit of color to it. But yeah. So and then it's kind of like one of my favorite artists, Blender artists, is probably Ian Hubert. And you look at his renders and they look stunning. And then he shows you, you know, the models and stuff, and it's just a bunch of planes. Like 90% of his city backgrounds aren't actual 3D models. They're just image textures. So I'm trying to learn kind of how to do that, you know, how to get the full like look of a 3D environment by just using images, which I think this is probably pretty good. But you know, to do something more like a city is a little bit more difficult. You gotta get all the you know, all the buildings and stuff to have the right lighting and whatnot, get all those to interact. But I'd say overall it was pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, have you finished the pumpkin yet, Ivan? I have. You know, I'm gonna put up. Because that's mine. This is on Discord he goes by Titan, and the same thing on YouTube. This is his render. Where did it go? It's stuck in the background, isn't it? Yeah, that's his. It's not bad. And then Ivan yours is gonna go right here once we finish it. Or once you finish it. But so far these are the two renders. All right. Oh, I love it. It reminds me of what's that one movie? The one with the creature that lives in the basket. Is it Basket Case? It might be, I can't remember, but that's what it reminds me of. Alright, is that the final render that you want me to put up? Alright. Let me go ahead and image. Go here, like so. And yes. Alright, so let's use it down so it's even. So for right now, we only have one person watching, so that's not going to allow for a very good vote. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three images and post them onto Instagram and have everyone vote on there. And hopefully we can get a pretty good vote out of it and see what the general consensus is upon who had the best render. Right now I'm going to end the stream, and you should see that post come out in probably 20 minutes or so. Thank you everyone so much for watching.